We're entering the final round of Swiss. My name is Joe Carlino, and I'm sick and tired of empty chair. And finally, somebody stepped up to him and beat him and kicked him out of the spot, and it is Eddie Guns. What's up, Eddie?
Not much. Just came from going 0-4, got the bye for round 5, so here I am. So
Hey,
better.
it's all good. You had fun today. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's every learning experience. Sometimes you go, 1-4, 1-5, 0x. It's just a learning experience.
Exactly.
You can go defeated the whole day, but it's always something to try and overcome for the next one.
Without a question on that one. But honestly, Eddie, after 4 rounds of Swiss, we're in the last round. So these trainers that are fighting for that all-important top 8 cut, they are ready for it. And we've got 2 right here for this one. We got Christopher Baez and Kyle Ayala. What do you know about these trainers right now?
So I faced Christopher 2 times. I think he ran this exact team last PC I played him in Maitland. Very fundamental player. He has the Firewater Grass Core, Instant Rillaboom, and Rapid Strike. Raging Bolt for the support with Electro Weapon Snarl. Very good. Just controlling the field. You want to hit something hard? Oh, no, you don't. Snarl, lower special attack. Oh, you want to outspeed me? No, Electro Web. Assault Vest makes it live everything.
And meanwhile, we look at Kyle Ayala's team. He is running the Rocky helmet on the Tornadus here and choice banded Landorus Therian. It's amazing. Wolfie makes a video about Landorus Therian just going down, and suddenly Landorus Therian usage goes up, especially this choice band variant. But we also see Iron Plate on the Golden Go, Assault Vest on the Raging Bolt. So it's essentially the same Raging Bolt on both sides here, ladies and gentlemen. Fairy, Protosynthesis, Assault Vest, Electro Web, Thunderclap, Snarl, Dracomania. So they both have the support Raging Bolt set here. But Kyle's running the Urshifu Single Strike. That's been making a good impression in early Regulation F formats right now.
Yeah, it's been terrorizing. Every time you want to protect the final, I have a Dark Week Pokemon. I need to switch out. Well, anything you switch in probably just gets one-hit KO'd by this Urshifu Single Strike. You think you're faster than the Single Strike Urshifu. Oh, no, you get Sucker Punched. And it's Terra Dark, and it just, blam, one-hit KOs. It is a scary mon to sit in front of.
And it does have the Focus Sash, too. So, essentially, if, let's say, the Fluttermane tries to go for someone like a Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam, thinking that, oh, hey, I can potentially get a one-hit knockout on here. Nope. You have to hit it twice. Otherwise, that Urshifu is coming out here. And even then, Fluttermane would have to Terrastalize to live something like a Urshifu Single Strike Wicked Blow, because it's wicked and it hits you hard.
And you better hope that the teammate of yours is faster than Urshifu, because if Urshifu will live that first hit, is your teammate faster than Urshifu to survive its hit?
Exactly. And God forbid, let's just say hypothetically, the Chen Pao comes out and it takes that Urshifu and it has an Urshifu. There's no way a Fluttermane lives that Wicked Blow, because the Chen Pao is essentially making the Fluttermane a sitting duck.
Yeah, and not many Fluttermanes, I think, can even have the defensive capabilities to even survive a Wicked Blow from full HP with Chimp House in the field. That's a tall ask for any Flutter.
Maybe if the Terra Fairy comes out, maybe. But even then, you're burning your Terrastalization option.
Just to survive.
Just to survive one hit that you can knock out the Urshifu in one shot. But honestly, one of these guys, Eddie, they're going to move to 4-1. They're going to guarantee a top cut spot here and move one step closer to being a midseason Showdown champion. And we're going to get into it right now. Christopher leads with the Incineroar and the Urshifu Rapid Strike, and Kyle leads with the Double Genies. So right now it looks to be, but the Intimidate comes out, so essentially that Landorus, that choice band is negated. It does lock it in to whatever move it does, but it's not going to get that 50% boost by the choice band, Eddie.
Yep, and seeing the Intimidate go onto the Urshifu kind of doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because you have these Surgeon Strikes that crits anyways. So that Urshifu is looking at Tornadus and Landorus and saying, well, I can take one of you out this turn. The Lando is running Terra Fairy, so there is a chance that the Lando can probably live, but you kind of don't want your Lando to take that much damage turn 1 if you don't have to.
And the other thing that's important to note is this Tornadus, it's running Rocky Helmet right now. So let's just say that Kyle potentially thinks about going into the Tornadus. It's going to take about half its HP just on that one hit.
So Lando's coming out. In comes Ogerpon.
That's actually a good switch on Kyle's side because now the Landorus' Intimidate is negated. And we see the Surging Strikes come out.
Oh, that is doing nothing.
But it's taking the Rocky Helmet damage. That is major for Kyle on this because the Urshifu, it's not even getting hit by a move and it's taking damage.
Free damage.
Takes nearly half of its HP as Tornadus opts to go for something like a Bleak Wind Storm here, and it gets a double hit, and Urshifu goes down.
And the Ensign barely took, that doesn't even look like 25%. That is a bulky cat that we were looking at. So we're probably going to be seeing a parting shot. Yep.
We do see a parting shot into the Ogerpon. That's big.
That is a huge.
That is very big on Christopher's side. Getting that parting shot off to lower the Ogerpon's attack and essentially negates the speed drop that Incineroar just had. But now comes the Raging Bolt on the side of Christopher Baez here, and it is rocking that Assault Vest, and out comes the Incineroar once again.
So now we have -2 attack on Ogerpon. We threaten with Thunderclap on Raging Bolt. It is a sticky situation for Kyle right now.
But the other option here is with that Landorus in the back, you could potentially do something like maybe go for something like a knockoff here, get rid of that Choice Band or even the Rocky Helmet on the Tornadus or the Landorus here. However, you can't knock off the Wellspring Mask on Ogerpon. So Ogerpon will still take damage from something like a knockoff. It just won't be as powerful and it won't remove the mask.
And another key thing is that the Landorus has Earthquake and Stomping Tantrum, so we can go for spread ground moves or we can go for a slightly, what will seem like stronger single target move. The Raging Bolt is Terra Electric, so it's going to have to be very careful around this potential Landorus when it comes back in.
And we do see the Tornado switched out in for the Landorus. Landorus coming back on the field and activating Intimidate, thus lowering the Incineroar's physical attack by 1 stage. And Christopher will be going for an attack here after this. Ogerpon goes for a Spiky Shield, and it's an Electro Web, which isn't
Great
effective at all on the Landorus.
Yeah, that's a great switch in from Kyle to read the Electro Web. Still
But Christopher goes for the parting shot on the Landorus. So Christopher just playing defensively and getting those parting shots off, negating the power of the Choice Bandit attack. But now it remains to be seen, what is the last Pokemon on Christopher's side? It is the Rillaboom.
Ooh, making that Raging Bolt seem even bulkier than what it actually is. Having that passive recovery every turn is something that Raging Bolt loves to have since it itself doesn't have any recovery moves.
You are correct on that one, Eddie. But now with this Landorus, it is essentially a neutral Landorus here. It'd be locked into any move. However, it could but the fact that it has Stomping Tantrum and Earthquake is negated by half on, not just because of spread moves, it's also negated because of the grassy terrain. But Stomping Tantrum is not.
Right, and Raging Bolt, even if -1, still probably doesn't want to sit in front of a Stomping Tantrum coming from a Lando Eye. Maybe if it's Adamant Nature, it does 40-50%. Raging Bolt can live some insane moves if you have the right investments on it.
You are correct in that assumption right now, but it remains to be seen what's going to happen here as Ogerpon goes for the Follow Me. I think it might have just timed out. I thought he picked Horn Leech. But Lander is going for the Stomping Tantrum. This is neutral.
Wow.
Oh, that is big damage, but the Wood Hammer comes out on the Rillaboom. And Ogerpon goes down. A one-hit knockout. That is huge. But Rillaboom's going to take some big damage. But what did the Raging Bolt go for? It went for Draco. It's dropping a Draco. And it almost dropped the Landorus. However, by virtue of that, the Raging Bolt could potentially switch out here, and Landorus could go down to a Grassy Glide now.
Yeah, this is definitely some difficult territory to get out of. Having the Ogerpon just get absolutely flattened by the Wood Hammer, that's something that I did not expect to happen. I
didn't see that coming at all. I mean, we saw what happened earlier with Riley when he battled Janice, that the +1 Ogerpon Heartflame could knock out the Ogerpon Wellspring neutrally with the neutral hit on a Water Grass type. We didn't think that a Rillaboom could knock out the Ogerpon with one hit, even with the Grassy Terrain and the Wood Hammer.
Right, so now Kyle's trying to decide which move to pick. Nasty Plot, Make It Rain. That Make It Rain is not going to do much to Raging Bolt, and you still have Instant in the back to also eat the Make It Rain. Urshifu is down, though.
But the important thing to also note is that Raging Bolt is the Assault Vest. Rillaboom is Miracle Seed. So that all, I just realized that it's Miracle Seed. That might have given that extra power on top of the grassy terrain. But we do see that the Terra Orb has been activated on Kyle's side. Golden Go is terrestrializing. And once again, is it Halloween in March? Why am I seeing axes in people's heads? Like, what is Michael Myers coming around?
So now we got to ask ourselves a very important question. Oh, wow, that
Ooh.
grass guy did nothing.
That
okay.
did nothing. But the Rocky Helmet, that might be massive here.
Can it Make It Rain knock out?
This is a Terra Steel Make It Rain. It knocks out the Rillaboom, but it doesn't knock out the Raging Bolt.
And that's the key knockout that you probably needed for the rest of this game. The fact that Raging Bolt is probably sitting on maybe like 4 or 5 HP in total right now. Gets off a Snarl, which is huge. So now Goldengo's -3 special attack.
It actually be -2 special attack.
Or -2, sorry.
Yeah. But we see the Incineroar come out here. This is going to be an insane end game here because the Tornadus still has its health. The Golden Goal still has its health. Tornadus could technically go for something like a Tailwind here, but it can't go for a Scary Face into the Incineroar right now by virtue of it being a Dark type.
Right, and Incineroar still has Fake Out. So...
And now by Golden Goal being Terra Steel, it's susceptible to Fake Out. But Raging Bolt is also -2 special attack now.
I think even then, you probably still go for, if you're Christopher, maybe you go for like an Electro Web, Fake Out into Goldengo, just to cover all your bases. Yeah, you might eat the Bleak Wind Storm. Actually, you might survive Bleak Wind. Who knows? I've seen Raging Bolt pull some miracles when it comes to surviving some hits that it just shouldn't. So we can see what kind of options we have here. So Tornado's protecting.
So Tornadus going for the Protect here. What did Golden Go end up going for? Did Golden Go Protect too? It did. So it's stalling out the Fake Out turn here, which is a very common mindset when you see a Pokemon that has Fake Out. If you have 2 Pokemon with Protect.
And you could Fake Out into the Goldengo like how we were just discussing.
And
Electro Web.
Try to get the speed drop here. But now, by virtue of that, in theory, unless Tornadus goes for something like a Scary Face or a Tailwind, we could see a potential Thunderclap on Christopher Baez knock out the Tornadus here with a Thunderclap. And I don't know. I think Incineroar might be able to knock out that Golden Go with a Flare Blitz.
It most definitely probably. Well, if not knockout, probably about 90% of his HP. The Scary Face is going to be huge here because then you still dodge the Thunderclap from Raging Bolt. But the Shadow Ball, that's... I think you probably just target Raging Bolt, honestly, because Incineroar is just going to eat it regardless.
Incineroar will eat it regardless. Tornadus going for the Scary Face here, potentially scouting out a Thunderclap there from the Raging Bolt. Did Raging Bolt go for Thunderclap? It did, but it goes into the Golden Go slot. And Golden Go going for that Shadow Ball. It's -2 Shadow Ball. And
my goodness.
Oh my God, it survives. It survives and Golden Go goes down. Did the critical hit matter? I think it mattered.
Might have mattered.
I think it might have mattered.
I think most Incineroars aren't running too much attack investment anyways in Adamant Nature. I think many of them are running Impish, I believe. Or a defense boosting nature. So the crit, we'll say it matters for the sake of content. We'll say it mattered.
We'll say it matters. However, this is the most important thing. That grassy terrain just ended.
Ooh,
the grassy terrain just ended. So this Landorus, it's no longer negated by the grassy terrain on its earthquakes.
And now that we have Landorus on the field, it cannot be affected by Electric-type moves. So Landorus can now actually safely go for an Earthquake on both sides of the field. If I'm Kyle, I click Scary Face just to say that I'm not going to get Thunderclapped by that.
I'm just now realizing it. He kept his Terra. The Terra coming out on the Incineroar. It's the Terra Grass. Oh, this is going to be massive here. It's going to be massive if this Incineroar can live, which I think it might. It very well might now with that resist. I mean, it's going to be choice banded.
I mean, probably just click.
Oh, the Thunderclap.
The Thunderclap, yep.
It made sense to go for the Thunderclap there. Lander is going for the Earthquake. Raging Bolt is unfortunately going to go down here.
Oh, that's some good
Wow.
damage on Instant, actually.
That is some good damage, but the Citrus Berry is going to come out. It all comes down to which Pokemon Incineroar.
Targets.
If it targets Tornadus here, I think that might help Christopher out. Because if he goes into that Landorus, then it comes down to a Bleak Wind Storm. Oh, and he went knock off into the Landorus.
Knock off into Landorus. Uh-oh.
Okay, so it's a 1v1 right now,
So
Eddie.
we are hoping for a Bleak Wind miss, which...
Correction, Kyle is hoping for a Bleak Wind to hit. Christopher is hoping for a Bleak Wind miss. Christopher is hoping for it. The Bleak Wind comes
and
down.
we get the Bleak Wind. Oh my
God,
goodness.
Incineroar lived. Incineroar lived, and he gets a knockoff. It knocks off the Tornadus, and it still survives, even with the Rocky Helmet recoil. Oh my God, Christopher Baez pulls it out.
These are some of the most bulkiest and defensive mons I've seen. I've gone against some bulky mons. This is ridiculous.
That was an amazing battle just now between Christopher and Kyle. Christopher being able, with that Incineroar, keeping that terrestrialization option in his back pocket and letting Incineroar, despite it being a fire type, somehow get flowers to sprout out of its head and become a grass type.
Holding that Terra for the whole game was absolutely huge because Kyle could have easily have just, I'm going to click Earthquake on your Ensign and Raging Bolt, and that probably would have, helped end the game a while ago. Maybe, potentially. I think he still had the Urshifu single strike switch in, and I believe he used Ogerpon that game too, correct?
I believe
sorry,
it.
sorry.
He did have Ogerpon in that game because remember Rillaboom
And the Rillaboom
knocked out Ogerpon. He did not bring Raging Bolt. He did not bring Urshifu in that game. So that's actually something. And Christopher did not bring Chenpao or Fluttermane in this battle.
Yeah, and having Fluttermane. Yeah, Christopher having Fluttermane against this team. I mean, Flutter deals with the Urshifu. Flutter can deal with the Raging Bolt before it Terras, Shadow Ball, the Goldango. Flutter has some very how should I say it? Has some very
favorable
matchups and some good options to throw out at Kyle, who's gonna have to dance around the fact that Flutter is probably gonna be the fastest thing on the field, not named Prankster or Tornadus, before it throws up a Tailwind.
Exactly, or even a Prankster Scary Face to ensure that his Pokemon or that his partner Pokemon is going to be faster than. The only Pokemon that Tornadus' Prankster Scary Face can affect are that Incineroar and that Chenpao, by virtue of its Dark type negating Prankster.
Right, and for the most part, I mean, if you need to Scary Face a Dark type, that's a scary Dark type one, first of all. You definitely just want to throw up the Tailwind instead. That way you benefit both Mons and your teammates in the back, just in case that one of your current Mons do get knocked out.
Exactly. And also, it's a risky play because maybe if you're predicting a Terror on that Dark-type Pokemon, then you can essentially be Prankster Scary facing a Dark type.
Or the Chenpao just straight up has Protect. Don't even need to worry about that in the first place.
Don't even have to worry about it in the first place.
Let's scout the Scary Face, and then we'll just go from there.
And speaking of Protect, you just mentioned it. I'm noticing now on Christopher's team, Chenpao's the only protecting Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, that is
Meanwhile, Kyle has 4 Pokemon with Protect.
Well, as we just seen in the last game, I don't think Christopher needs Protect on this Mons.
I don't think so either.
I mean, the Raging Bolt survived 3 moves that it just shouldn't have. The Rillaboom has the Grassy Surge to help keep some longevity. Instant almost never runs Protect ever.
No, it doesn't, but we do see game number 2 has started here, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Incineroar and Urshifu.
I think it's the same leads from the last game, right?
I think you're right. It was the Choice Scarf Urshifu and the Incineroar versus the Landorus and the Tornadus. So now it remains to be seen what's going to happen here because the Landorus could potentially go for an attack here or it could switch out.
Right, and it's going to be very interesting how Christopher plays it this first turn because the last game he went for Surging Strikes onto the Tornadus, basically disregarding the potential Ogerpon that could have came in.
And we do see Landorus switches out here, and Raging Bolt comes in. But now it remains to be seen, what did Christopher go for? Because if he went for the Surging Strike, that's going to be something. We see a Fake Out come on the side of the Incineroar, getting some Rocky Helmet damage, and Urshifu going for the Surging Strikes into the Raging Bolt.
Oh my goodness, look at how little damage that is doing.
It's a resisted hit, ladies and gentlemen, but those guaranteed critical hits are the catalyst. And it's kind of a reason why we're seeing Single Strike go up a little bit now, because they want to do damage on a Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt has been a big thorn in the side of Urshifu Rapid Strike.
Yeah, and also having the Thunderclap access is just scares most Urshifus away. You don't want to Aqua Jet into that. You get Electro Web, you get Thunderbolted. It's a scary mon to have to deal with if you're a water type in general.
Exactly. Like, you want to be able to deal with a Raging Bolt, but you also don't want to run the risk of getting hit by a Thunderclap, because Thunderclap is guaranteed to hit as long as Urshifu's going for an attack. So you could essentially keep Raging Bolt as your last Pokemon, and you can beat that Urshifu one-on-one.
So it's a double Raging Bolt.
But the
right
Bleak
now.
Wind Storm, and it misses the Raging Bolt on the switch in. That is big. And Raging Bolt went for the Draco into the Incineroar, and it knocks
And
it
it
out.
goes down. That is a massive KO for Kyle to get. If that instant lives the Draco, that's a parting shot easily onto to Kyle's Raging Bolt.
That is definitely a big play on the side of Kyle Ayala, getting that Incineroar knocked out. Meanwhile, Rillaboom comes out here, and Rillaboom could potentially go for a fake out now. However, it is if it goes for a fake out into something like the Tornadus could go for a protect here, but Bleak Wind Storm is super effective.
Right, and the fact that you have to even threaten the protect means that your own Raging Bolt on Kyle's side is still going to get threatened by Christopher's Raging Bolt, which they're running the same moveset, so they both have access to Draco Meteor.
Exactly. But also, Kyle's Raging Bolt right now, it's -2 special attacks. So while Christopher's will be super effective in doing big damage, Kyle's will do big damage, it just won't do as much.
Right, and now it's just going to come down also to a speed tie.
Ooh, I forgot about the speed tie.
We don't know if they have the exact same builds of the Raging Bolts. So it's going to come down to whose Raging Bolts is going to outspeed who.
We see the Tornadus opt for the Protect to potentially stall out a fake out from the Rillaboom. Rillaboom opts for the Wood Hammer into the Raging Bolt.
That is a decent chunk of damage, actually.
That's big damage into that Rillaboom. And the Raging Bolt went for Electro Web.
They played it safe with the Electro Web, just making sure that they can guarantee that in the future, as long as it's on the field, this Raging Bolt will outspeed yours.
And in all fairness, we just saw the health bar go down 101 to 95. It was a bop. It just went like a little nudge down.
And the Snarl coming from Kyle's side also does minimal damage. I mean, the Raging Bolt is back at full after the grassy terrain, showing how bulky that this Mon can be. It is just an absolute tank.
You are correct in that one right now, Eddie. But meanwhile, the Tornadus, it still has that opportunity to get that Prankster up while it's still on the field. But Raging Bolt, even at -1, I think Electro Web will still do a good amount of damage on that Tornadus.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, having just the double weakness, the fact, even if it doesn't knock out, you now have a little bit more control of the situation, and a Thunderclap.
A Thunderclap came out on Christopher's side.
Oh, wait, Kyle still outsped.
No. Christopher went for the
Tailwind,
Thunderclap.
correct.
No, Christopher went for the Thunderclap into
And it failed, and then...
And Rillaboom going for the high horsepower into the Raging Bolt. Another critical hit definitely matters.
That absolutely matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, critical hits always matter. It doesn't we all know. Crit matters. But the Raging Bolt getting that recovery back. Now it remains to be seen what's going to come out. Like, Landorus could come out and it'll still hurt this Raging Bolt. However, Raging Bolt is Terra Electric. We have to keep that in mind.
Right.
It's Terra Electric.
And on Kyle's side, he actually has all his bases covered. If you just go for a Bleak Wind Storm and an Earthquake or Stomping Tantrum, then you have coverage against actually everything, because Urshifu is still in the back waiting to come back in.
And Urshifu coming back, it's still with the Choice Scarf, but the Landorus would be faster by virtue
of the Tailwind, probably most likely.
So now it essentially could be just a free Thunderclap or Electro Web and maybe a Stomping Tantrum, and you're pretty much in the clear.
Right, and probably no matter what happens here, whether the Rillaboom switches out or the Raging Bolt switches out, something is most likely getting knocked out on Christopher's side.
You're correct in that one, as we do see Kyle activate his Terra Orb, and he is flinging it at his Tornadus here. And Tornadus is, again, like everybody's playing Halloween with these axes in the heads. I don't understand why. I know it's a steel type Terra, but I just like having fun with that. But the Thunderclap comes out, and now that it's not weak to Thunderclap, but the Bleak Wind Storm, and it misses the Rillaboom.
The bleak wind storm giveth, the bleak wind storm taketh. Sometimes you hit your double targets, get the double speed drops, and sometimes you miss an essential KO on the mod that you needed to the most.
And we see that the Stomping Tantrum knocks out the Raging Bull, but the Wood Hammer does not do enough. But it comes down potentially to a Bleak Wind again. But now the Tornadus, by virtue of it being a Steel-type Pokemon, it's now grounded and therefore got the Grassy Terrain recovery.
Right, and that little bit of recovery is going to matter probably in 2 or 3 turns if, let's say, the Landers goes down. If the Urshifu somehow manages to outspeed it, I can't imagine that it will.
I mean, it will because of the Choice Scarf might make it close. It might make it very close even with the Tailwind up. But a double attack, I mean, I feel like this Tornadus will probably go for something like the Bleak Wind Storm again, just, risk it. Because it's going to do major damage on the Rillaboom unless it Terrasilize. But if it Terras, it's now weak to the Landorus.
But the Rillaboom still has Grassy Glide to access, so that could probably not. It will probably knock out Landorus at this range.
It's very close, but we do see the Terra come out on Rillaboom, and it is becoming very toxic of a plan as it becomes a poison type instead of a pure grass. As Urshifu going for the Aqua Jet, and it's enough to knock out the Landorus, and another critical hit.
Wow, unseen. So Surging Strike isn't the only water type move that can crit with Urshifu.
As Tornadus going for the Bleak Wind Storm, Urshifu survived.
Wow, that is a huge KO win.
And high horsepower doesn't do enough because of the Intimidate.
Get some Rocky Helmet chip. I think after the Rocky Helmet chip, it might actually be able to go down with the next Bleak Wind.
It's very possible. However, Golden goes in the back and the Tailwind is still up. So essentially, the Tailwind comes up. It's the last turn, and Christopher has no way of protecting.
Right, it's going to just be Make It Rain and Bleak Wind.
And with Make It Rain being a guaranteed hit, it looks to be all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, this is a smart play. Urshifu going for the Aqua Jet here, trying to knock out the Tornadus. It is unfortunately not enough. And Golden Go going for the Make It Rain. And Kyle Ayala forces game number 3 on the back of his Tailwind combination and Golden Go's spread move. And further proving why Golden Go is one of the best Pokemon in the format.
Yeah, that Tailwind was absolutely huge for the Goldango, not being able to outspeed. It won't outspeed the Urshifu, definitely. Some Golden Go's, I think, can naturally outspeed Rillaboom, because a lot of Rillabooms, from what I am seeing, don't really run that much speed investment. It's more so attack, defense, a little bit special defense, and some HP.
Yeah, I think you're right on that side of things, because Rillaboom, they tend to be more on the bulky side to be able to live the, especially when they do the Wood Hammer with the recoil, because that's its best grass type move outside of Grassy Glide, because now the Grassy Glide got its base power lowered from 70 to 55. Even though it's still hitting hard with the Grassy Terrain, it's not doing as much as it did in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, and you still want your Rillaboom to be bulky, just for the fact that if you need to switch out in a couple of turns and you need to reset your Grassy Terrain, here it comes again.
Exactly. And honestly, right now in game number 2, I think that kind of showed Kyle a way to beat Christopher's team, not just by virtue of Tailwind and just clicking funny buttons, but honestly, no protecting on Christopher's side. I love this hyper offense that Christopher is running on this team. But right now, against a team like this, it's showing why hyper offense might not be the greatest archetype in the Regulation F meta.
Yeah, having one protect on your team is extremely risky in this meta, where it seems like every other thing can KO every other thing. So having these hard reads on one part, a crucial switch over here, maybe a lucky crit over there, Bleak Wind misses, which was absolutely huge. Missing that Bleak Wind on the Rillaboom definitely changed the game. However, Kyle still managed to pull it out thanks to having Tailwind and the Goldango on the back would Make It Rain to guarantee the hit. But having just one protect on the Christopher side, like I said, is something that you don't like to see when you're in that end game, when you know you need to maybe stall out a turn or two, or block a Fake Out, block an Aqua Jet, which knocked out Landorus that one turn.
And also important to note that when Golden Goat went for that Make It Rain, it doesn't matter on Rillaboom if it was grass or if it's terrestrialized. It's a neutral hit, so it's still going to hurt the Rillaboom. If it was something like a Terra Fire or a Terra Water, then maybe there's a chance that it lives, but it's not very likely.
Yeah, you force it the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is maybe with the spread, it might be about the same as a Make Rain, but he did Terra Steel, so effectively the Make Rain would still be stronger than a single target Shadow Ball.
You are correct in that, but ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be game number 3. One of these trainers is guaranteed to top cut this tournament, ladies and gentlemen. Will it be Kyle Ayala or will it be Christopher Baez? Game number 3, the action starts now. That was a horrible chance.
Yeah, the
But we
Ooh,
do
it's
see
a different lead.
We see Christopher Baez. He brings the Flutter Mane. For the first time, he brings the Flutter Mane. So now, this is really interesting because Incineroar with that Intimidate into the Landorus, it lowers the power of any one of Landorus's moves. However, the Tailwind could come up here, and I don't know if a Landorus Therian can survive a Choice Specs Flutter Mane.
Probably not.
Probably not, but maybe without Terastallization.
Right, and the Landorus is Terra Fairy, which it's not going to resist either of Flutter Stabs. Definitely a Choice Specs Moonblast will knock out this Landorus. With this lead, Christopher can threaten Kyle with a Fake Out on Tornadus, and then maybe a Dazzling Gleam or a Moonblast on Landorus, because you know how devastating this could be with an Earthquake.
Or you could even like try something crazy and go for the Shadow Ball.
We do have a Goldango, so I wonder how Chris
is opting to Terastallize here, ladies and gentlemen. His Terra Orb has fired out into the Flutter Mane, and Flutter Mane, despite being one of the biggest threats in the game, it's showing a little bit of love today with that Fairy Terastallization.
and is going to love clicking this Dazzling Gleam most likely.
As Incineroar goes for the Fake Out into the Golden Go.
The Goldango, that's a huge
And Flutter Mane
switch
going
in.
for the Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam here.
And no Terra Steel from Kyle to try and get rid of that
Ooh.
damage.
And the Bleakwind Storm comes out, and Flutter Mane avoids, and Incineroar avoids
double
a double
miss.
miss. Are you kidding me?
So no damage or speed drop on this turn. That is a massive whiff.
That is insane of a play, ladies and gentlemen. That is so unfortunate for Kyle Ayala there, but Christopher Baez getting that fortunate double Bleakwind Storm miss. However, Golden Go is out on the field, and Flutter Mane, it doesn't matter that it's Terra Fairy and its special defense is a very high base 135.
Oh, but Christopher's switching out the Flutter Mane.
It does not want to take a Make It Rain. We see Raging Bolt come out instead, potentially scouting out that Make It Rain. As a Tailwind comes out on the side of Kyle Ayala, and Golden Go going for that Make It Rain. And it's bouncing off the Incineroar and bouncing off the Raging Bolt, and that was a critical
and that's
hit.
the crit.
A critical hit, too.
That's not something you want to see coming from
And Flare Blitz
Kyle.
comes out into the Tornadus, and now this is the only amount of Tailwind for the remainder of the battle. That is a big play on Christopher Baez's side.
Yeah, and that's something that's going to be probably haunting Kyle for a while. Missing that Bleakwind Storm. Like I said, missing one damage on 2 Mons and also missing speed drops.
But now, in comes that Landorus Therian here, ladies and gentlemen, and that actually might play well for Kyle Ayala here because unless Christopher somehow has something like a Rillaboom in the back, Incineroar doesn't want to take a Choice Banded Stomping Tantrum. Raging Bolt does not want to take a Choice Banded Stomping Tantrum. The only Pokemon that Flutter Mane does not want to take a Choice Band Stomping Tantrum. The only thing that wants to take a Choice Band Stomping Tantrum is a Rillaboom.
Right, and Landorus does threaten the rest of his team. Well, as far as we know, threatening the Incin, the Flutter, and the Raging Bolt. But if that Rillaboom is in the back, then Stomping Tantrum 1 to switch in for Raging Bolt completely eats it. Also, if it goes for Spread Earthquake, which you can't do because Goldanga's on the field, then the Grass Chain will reduce the Earthquake.
You are correct in that one. And also, again, Christopher used his Terastallization. We see Christopher switch out that Incineroar here. And it is the
And
Rillaboom.
out comes the Rillaboom.
Rillaboom is in the back, ladies and gentlemen. However, by virtue of Rillaboom coming out, he does have 2 fake-out users still, Christopher Baez does. He has Rillaboom and he has Incineroar.
Right, and those fake outs are going to be huge onto the Landorus because every fake out that you have is one less turn that a Landorus can hurt your side.
And meanwhile, Golden Go gets the Terror Orb fired at it by Kyle and becomes a Steel type. Now this Make It Rain is going to do a lot of damage.
Well, it still is -1. We'll see how well this Rillaboom takes it.
We're about to find out. It takes
That's
it
a
really
decent
well.
chunk, actually.
Because that's Terra Steel and the Iron Plate. And a Stomping Tantrum comes out into
But
the
into the Rillaboom
Rillaboom.
spots.
Oh my god, and a Draco Meteor coming out on the Landorus. Wow, what a play by Christopher Baez. And Golden Go gets its HP restored, as does Rillaboom. Oh my god, and also, again, Golden Go went Terra Steel. It's now susceptible to Fake Out.
Right, and it's looking really bad for Kyle. That Rillaboom switching was absolutely huge. The Make It Rain also not being able to KO since it was -1 at that time also is just a huge blow, not being able to get that knockout.
And now Kyle is thinking about maybe going for a nasty play because that Golden Go is now -2 on its special attack. So it's really not doing anything on Christopher's Pokemon here, but his Landorus is low health. I think it might go down potentially to a Grassy Glide.
Right, and I mean, Kyle going for a nasty plot is a good idea, but don't forget that the Raging Bolt has Snarl, so we can, though not negate the nasty plot, it's still, you're not getting your full nasty plot value.
You're right, as Raging Bolt comes out for the Landorus here. And Rillaboom did go for the Grassy Glide, and it does pretty much nothing to the Raging Bolt. But this is a -2 Make It Rain.
Oh, wow,
It does enough
that's a
to knock
huge
out
knockout.
Rillaboom.
Is that a crit?
I don't think it was a critical hit.
No, that's not a crit.
Ooh, that is major, ladies and gentlemen. But the Electro Web comes out. That is going to be pretty massive on the side of Christopher Baez, slowing down that Golden Go alongside the Raging Bolt.
Right, you're definitely going to switch out the Golden Go at this point. It's -2 or 3 special attack, I believe, as well as -1 speed. You're going to need to fire off some pretty good Shadow Balls in order to try and get some damage onto the Raging Bolts.
And also Incineroar comes out here and lowers the attack of the Golden Go and the Raging Bolt here. You could potentially go for something like a Fake Out or even a Parting Shot into the Raging Bolt. You cannot Parting Shot the Golden Go because of the Good as Gold ability. However, that might actually bode well for Christopher Baez if he did do something like that into the Raging Bolt. And the reason why is I think this is the last turn of Tailwind.
Yeah, so the Goldango, we're looking at it, -2 stage in special attack and -1 speed. That Goldango is not outspeeding anything. Actually, I think the Instant might be faster at this point to get a Flare Blitz off on the Goldango.
Ooh, you're right on that. That might actually be something too. As you see Christopher switch out his Raging Bolt here, and Fluttermane is gonna come back out. I mean, -1 in the tailwind. It might be close on this, but Incineroar going for the Fake Out. Going for the Fake Out into the Golden Go here. Golden Go flinches and cannot move. And Raging Bolt dropping a Draco into the Incineroar, and Incineroar
Wow!
lives.
That looks like 3 health. That is an insane.
Oh my god, Incineroar survives on what must be something in the low teens. Maybe even single digit.
That has to be a handful of HP. That is a massive KO missed.
But the Tailwind peters out now, so now that Golden Go definitely is slower than the Incineroar most likely, unless it switches out here. But even then, Landorus is in the back. And Raging Bolt, it does, even with the Assault Vest, this is going to hurt.
And I'm pretty sure that the Landorus is chunked too. That Landorus does not want to come into this Dazzling Gleam that we know is going to probably be clipped by Christopher.
Most likely. But meanwhile, Golden Go, I mean, it's lowered special attack. If it was neutral special attack, I mean, Fluttermane would be kind of scared of a Make It Rain here, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, it's definitely more threatened by a neutral Make It Rain than it is by a -3 Make It Rain. Even if you have a
we see the Thunderclap come out.
That's a small Thunderclap though.
And the Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam comes out here on the Fluttermane, doing big damage on the Raging Bolt and the Golden Go.
So now what's the Ensign doing?
Oh!
Okay, Make It Rain.
Okay, it's -3 with the Iron Play and the Terra.
That
Fluttermane
is
survives.
still not bad damage considering that you are -3. That is not bad damage.
That is not bad damage at all, but the knockoff comes out and knocks out the Raging Bolt.
Oh, that's a huge knockout.
I think that was actually a smart play on Christopher Baez's side. Getting rid of that knockoff, allowing you to get rid of the priority. Because even with the priority out, like, there might be a shot that that Thunderclap maybe could have knocked out Fluttermane on that.
That is a possibility, yeah.
But now, Fluttermane can go for a Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam here, and we saw how much damage it just did on the Golden Goal through a resist too, Eddie.
Yeah, that is a huge amount of damage. This Fluttermane having such a massive special attack stat just enables so many opportunities on offense. Oh, I don't think I can get this knockout. Well, I know Fluttermane can, and it just threatens everything on the field.
You are correct in that side. And now Kyle has to think long and hard about what he wants to do here because, again, Fluttermane is the fastest Pokemon on the field. If Raging Bolt potentially went for something like an Electro Web instead of a Thunderclap on that turn, maybe we're thinking of a different story here.
Right, but even then, I think with an Electro Web onto a Flutter, -1 speed Flutter still outspeeds a lot of Mons.
Yeah, but one thing that it doesn't do, when it hits the funny button after the Terra Fairy, it hits like a absolute truck. As we just saw, Christopher Baez knocks out the Landorus and the Golden Go. Christopher Baez wins 2-1, moves to 4-1, and clinches a top cut spot here at the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how Christopher doesn't have any protects. Well, I mean, if you just live every hit, it doesn't matter.
If you live every hit, it does not matter. That's the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen. Because, again, we said it, hyper offense against this team, it looked a little
lackluster. It was looking very
It looked a little lackluster, especially with the way Kyle is playing, because Kyle is one of the best players in the state of Florida. So for Christopher to play the way that he did with a hyper offense team against a team like this, that is absolutely incredible, Eddie.
Yeah, it honestly either could have went either way, seeing how Kyle's team is matched up. But just the fact that, once again, Christopher's Mons survived everything that was thrown their way.
Everything. Like, it was just amazing. Like, honestly, Eddie, he didn't have to go for stuff like Snarl or Electro Webs.
He snarled maybe.
Kyle tried to go for those Snarls. Christopher tried to go for the Electro Webs. It really didn't matter. It really didn't matter. And what was really interesting, at least on Kyle's side, we didn't see Urshifu or Ogerpon.
No, not at all.
We did see Ogerpon.
Oh, I think Ogerpon in game 1.
Yeah, because of the Woodhammer. But
right, the Woodhammer knockout.
We didn't see the two of the legendaries.
Yeah, no Chien-Pao at all, and no Urshifu single strike. You figured you would see at least a single strike. Looking at the single strike matched up against Christopher's team, it threatens everything on the field.
Exactly, it threatens everything on the field. So it's actually pretty shocking that Kyle didn't bring it. But again, sometimes, I mean, that's the mind games that happens in VGC, especially because, I mean, it's Urshifu single, but you look at your opponent's team and there's a Fluttermane.
Yeah, and every Dark type has to think twice about stepping onto the field when Flutter is sitting across from you. You know, it's so fast, it hits hard. If you're a special attacker, it probably survives special attack. It has, I mean, yeah, you see people mainly click Dazzling Gleam and Shadow Ball with the occasional Thunderbolt, the occasional Mystical Fire,
the occasional Power Gem.
But you know the 2 moves clicking. You know it's about to happen.
90% of the time, you're gonna be watching out for a Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam or a Choice or. Well, I mean, he also has Moonblast too. So I mean, like sometimes you'll risk the single target over the spread.
Right, but when you have that Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam, you don't have to worry about the Moonblast. Even with the spread reduction coming from the Dazzling Gleam, the Choice Specs just carries it to a whole different level. You know, the Choice Specs really pushes a Mon that's so strong to an even further edge and just gets insane knockouts whenever it wants.
Exactly. And then also the Landorus Therian, it went for the Earthquake in game number 1, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I think it was game 1. I think Earthquake was only clicked one time.
For Christopher to have that Terra option in the back, that was incredibly mental of him by having that option in the back and making sure that a Pokemon that normally would get knocked down by a super effective move such as that Landorus survived.
Yeah, it shows incredible patience on Christopher's end, holding Terras until the final turn or final turns, you know, to survive a crucial hit that would enable your teammate to attack the other attacker is just, it's huge. You know, sometimes you'll see, oh, well, my lead is bad and I kind of don't want to switch because I know that whatever my opponent's going to attack into the next Pokemon that comes in is probably going to eat it, so I'm just use the Terra now. No. Sometimes if you have faith in your Mon's defensive investments, you can get away with holding that Terra until literally the last turn or 2.
Exactly. But honestly, congratulations to Christopher Baez being able to advance the top cut. And ladies and gentlemen, we have our top cut here. We have Landon Moorjaw, Matthew Laughlin, Don Check, William Kadzow, Emmanuel Zapata, Christopher Baez, Riley Factor, and Elijah Tatum making our top 8.
Yeah, and that's a pretty strong list. Riley making it. He was 3-2 actually. That's
He's one of the top players in North America, as we found out.
correction. He is the top player in North America. When you actually look at the championship points total, I believe he should still be number 1 by a large margin actually.
So he said it after round 2 in the winner's interview. He was number 1 in points, but he's number 6 for like a travel stipend.
Okay.
So like he's got to do a couple of these ones to get people to get past other people, because I think he's trying to do a travel stipend for NAIC.
Yeah, and he's also I think trying to go for travel stipend for Worlds too. He's been going around.
He's been dominating
everywhere.
right now.
I faced him in Knoxville, the Knoxville MSS. It was round, I believe, 7. It was a 7 rounds, best of 1. Got the win on him, and because I beat him, actually he fell out of getting points for that MSS. So that put him behind a little bit actually.
Yeah, those are the ones that like it just gets you, where it's like you can knock out somebody and prevent them from getting points too. Like that's just it's an unfortunate feeling, but it is what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back with our top cut here at the Nerdy Needs Midseason Showdown.